Greetings from West Michigan. I would like to thank the ISS Conference Committee for the opportunity to present our poster entitled A Qualitative Study of Stakeholder Perspectives of Pediatric Power Wheelchair Standing Devices. My name is Lisa Kenyon, and I'm honored to be presenting on behalf of our research team. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the families who have given their permission to show identifiable pictures of their children. Please protect the privacy of these children by avoiding taking or sharing any screenshots of the presentation. So first of all, what is a power wheelchair standing device? Simply put, it's a power wheelchair that allows a person to electronically transition between sitting and standing, thereby affording access to the vertical plane and providing the opportunity to drive in either sitting or standing. Although power wheelchairs, standing devices have been around since 2003 for children, very limited research has been published regarding these devices. And the research that has been published has been limited to children who have Duchenne muscular dystrophy, so therefore boys who have Duchenne muscular dystrophy. To begin, the purpose of planning clinical trials focused on power wheelchair standing device use with other populations, other types of children, the purpose of our study was to explore and describe the experiences of various stakeholders regarding the use of standing power wheelchairs. We recruited participants from across the US, including 4 stakeholder groups, children who used a power wheelchair standing device, parents of children who used a power wheelchair standing device, rehabilitation professionals, and manufacturers of power wheelchair standing devices. Data were gathered via Zoom or in person in face-to-face interviews, and recruitment continued until data saturation was reached. Data were analyzed inductively using the constant comparative method, and trustworthiness was addressed through the use of a reflexive journal, member checks, and inquiry audits. We had 35 participants that were interviewed in the study. As you can see, by conducting our interviews via Zoom, we were able to really expand and recruit participants from multiple geographic areas across the US. 3 themes emerged in the data: stand on demand, it's more than weight bearing, and ecosystems influencing power wheelchair standing device use. Let's briefly look at each of these themes. So in our first theme, all participants perceive the power wheelchair standing device as giving children the ability to stand when and where they desired, thereby increasing their independence and enhancing their participation in activities that range from performing in a school play to singing in a choir, playing with friends, working at a grocery store, participating in chem lab, and doing chores in the home and backyard. Participants also valued how standing and the ability to independently transition into standing allowed children to feel more involved in certain activities. As noted in this quote by Child 04, "I like to stand at church when all the rest of the people are standing. It makes me feel like I really belong." Being able to stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance or during the national anthem were regarded as important activities enabled by power wheelchair standing device use. Participants also perceived a vast array of psychological benefits and psychosocial benefits arising from children's use of a power wheelchair standing device. Many felt standing in a power wheelchair standing device increased a child's confidence and allowed children to stand face-to-face with others, further enhancing the potential to increase their self-concept. As noted by this quote, "In my power wheelchair standing device, people can look at me eye to eye. And as little as that may seem, one of the main things in our society is eye contact. And not having eye contact is a constant barrier if I'm sitting down." Also within this theme, participants felt the ability to stand influenced how other people perceived a child, as exemplified by this parent's quote, "People assume a kid in a power wheelchair has cognitive difficulties, but they see my son standing in his power wheelchair standing device, looking at them face to face, and that assumption is diminished." The funding process and insurance issues were constantly mentioned as barriers to obtaining a power wheelchair standing device. In discussing her self-described fight for funding, parent 10 shared, "Our insurance company would only approve us for a power wheelchair, not for the standing feature." Parent 06 described a similar experience. "Our insurance company kept coming back and saying, 'Do you know how expensive this power wheelchair standing device is? Can't we do something a little less expensive?'" As with any study, there were limitations. This study reflected experience with power wheelchair standing devices in the US under the US healthcare system, and the age range and the duration of power wheelchair standing device use by the children in the study could have impacted our findings. Also, respondents may have responded to questions in a way that they felt was socially desirable. In conclusion, the ability to stand whenever and wherever a child wanted was unique to power wheelchair standing device use. Standing may increase children's feelings of belonging, and funding was revealed as a barrier to power wheelchair standing device acquisition and use. Our findings have been published in an October 2021 issue of Developmental Medicine and Child Neurology. Here's our references. And if you have any questions, please contact me at kenyonli@gvsu.edu. Thank you for your time.